guys, welcome to my getting ready for the Eras tour video. I am very excited today. We are making my outfit, costume thing, however you want to call it, the thing that I'm going to wear to the Eras tour. So here's everything I have, my dress, things, sewing, we got a lot to do. So let's get started. So basically my inspo slash what I want to do is the her like original enchanted dress, which is this, if you don't know what I'm talking about. But basically I already own this dress. This is a dress that I bought last year, end of either 2023 or like the end of 2022, for like my 19th birthday. And so because I already own it, I was like, well, why don't we turn this into the enchanted and go as like the Speak Now era, because I already own this dress. So then I was like, okay, well, if we make it like a little bit more like the enchanted dress, like more the Speak Now, I have these tutus, which I bought from the dollar, it's like a dollar store, and basically I'm gonna add them to the bottom of this dress so that it has that like light to dark purple like the dress does, and then also this is more the Speak Now purple than the light purple. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so first things first, I've got to take these out, so let's do that, hey? Okay, so now that I've done that, what I want to do is I want to find the seam, oh, more plastic, and unpick it so that I can flatten it out to make a bigger skirt. Here it is. So, gonna start unpicking this. Yay.
Look at, just going for this. Swifty concert. I see it. It looks good.
Okay, well, if you guys say it's good, then I'll go get another tutu.
Yeah, keep going. It's good.
Alright. Okay, so just got back from the dolls, so now I have to unstitch this and then sew it to, or like attach it to one of the other skirts, although maybe I won't do that, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But either way, and I have to attach this to the rest of the dress, so I'll see you once that's done. So I finished sewing everything on the dress, except for the fact that I need another tutu. So that's annoying for me, but that's okay. My mum's gonna pick me up one because she's so nice. And also I bought a block of cheese, and a block of cheese was $14 and this was only 10, so I figured that works. Anyways, it looks like this right now. I'll show you what it looks like on when I'm done. And I do kind of want to preface though that you don't really have to be a good sewer to do anything like this. Like, my sewing is horrendous, but the thing is that it works, and that's really what counts. Like, I'm gonna show you the sewing just because I think you need to understand that I am a terrible sewer and that I literally, like, I'm not good. This is a terrible angle, give me a second. Here's my horrendous sewing. Little bits of, you see that? Kinda, over there you can see it. It's on manual focus, but if you're a sewer you might be able to tell. Either way, it's horrendous, and like, I just have little tacks. Like, here's some, you know, it's not great, but it's okay. Because it works, and that is what counts. Not that it looks good. Well, I mean, it looks fine, and it's that it works. And because I want to be able to unpin everything and then turn them back into tutus, why would I do the sewing well? Because when you do the sewing well, it's harder. So I basically just like tacked them. Like, I just, you know, in like different spots along here, and it worked. You know, it'll look fine, and it'll stay together, and that's what counts, really. Okay, so it is the next day. I did sew on the last tutu, but it didn't look right, and there was like, I had to gather up the skirt. It didn't work, so I actually spent this morning unpicking what I had done, and I've just finished repinning all the tutus, and I think this is going to work a lot better than it was before. So it doesn't look necessarily quite as seamless, but I think it's going to work, and that's really what counts. So now I'm going to spend probably the next couple hours sewing it again. I think I really channeled my Lorelai Gilmore, you know, to do this, so that's why I'm wearing this shirt, to channel her. Anyways, I gotta finish this because I got some other things to do. Finished. Come back to see my Eras Tour video, and you'll see me wearing it and how it looks, so yeah. So I'm about to start my sunglasses. I originally had these for my 1989 Taylor's Version party, so I'm gonna take the beads off and then redo it so it's the Eras Tour. That's kind of the plan, and then this is kind of my inspiration, like these kind of sunglasses, so we're gonna see what beads and stuff we can use for that. But yeah, let's go. Oh, also I thrifted these sunglasses. If you haven't watched my TikTok on when I made these for my 1989 party, I thrifted these sunglasses at a thrift store. That's where you thrift things. Anyways, let's get started. Okay, so now that my outfit is done and I have my cool glasses, it's time to make friendship bracelets because it's the Eras tour. I have to be making friendship bracelets. So I will be using the same beads basically from here because I still have so many left over. And I mean, I've had these for probably 10 years. Shit. And I just like, I got this like 10 years ago and I still have all these beads. So like, obviously I am going, that was not a lot of beads. That's just the beads that I've like sectioned off already, like red, fearless, like the beads I've already decided, like the bracelets I've already decided I'm going to make. So that's what we're gonna do. Oh, also I had like I have all the material, so I decided I'm going to use all the stuff I already have rather than going out and buying new stuff, because it's not really necessary and it's always more sustainable to use the things that you have already. So that's what I'm doing. So let's get to it, hey? I don't even know how to start this. Like, because how many beads do you need? Does anyone know how many beads a bracelet takes? Because like, how many do I have to put on there before I put on the like middle part? I don't know. Like, how many of these do I put on before I put on like the words red? Like, how do I know? This is so scary. Nice and stretchy. I also need scissors. Okay. I don't think I've made friendship bracelets in a really long time. If ever. I mean, I have this, but like I don't actually remember doing this as a child. You know? Like, I don't actually remember making bracelets. So, you might have noticed from the title that this is not exactly just an ordinary like prepping for the Eras tour video. I want to use this opportunity to discuss an issue that I think deserves to be discussed. If you don't know me or aren't aware of why I have this YouTube channel, it's because the beauty standards of society are fucked up, and I want to bring awareness to all the societal pressures and problems, both mental and physical, that coincide with body image. Anyways, today I wanted to discuss celebrities, and more specifically Taylor Swift, and how we as an audience perceive them physically and how that in turn can affect them. This all kind of came about when, like, while I was watching a TV show and like the next season came, and I noticed a pretty obvious change in one of the actors' physical appearance. And after noticing this, I realized how horrible it must be to have your appearance constantly being watched like that. When you interact with someone often and in person, the changes that happen aren't that noticeable. They're gradual, you know? But when you're constantly seeing them, always from altered points of view, you know, through cameras and lenses, like I've never met a celebrity in person, so it's always been through a different lens, which can distort your view, and it's never to scale. That's why sometimes things look disproportionate. And we're also not seeing them consistently. Like, we might see them only from one event to the other, or from season to season. The changes that happen can be much more noticeable, and they are, unfortunately, much more discussed. Being in the public eye means people feel entitled to comment on everything about you, including your appearance. And unfortunately, people do, which I don't think is always helpful.
all kind. There are better ways to compliment people or to talk about people, you know, like on their work. And look, there's nothing wrong with noticing changes. It's like literally how we process reality. But not every comment has to be made, and not everything you think has to be heard. And I mean, Taylor Swift talked a little about her struggles with eating disorders in her documentary Miss Americana, which she told in like this exclusive interview with Variety, that I think I've never really wanted to talk about that before, and I'm pretty uncomfortable talking about it now. She was and is in her process of healing, and a lot of people seem to find it incredibly uncomfortable to talk about their eating disorders, which I personally believe is because eating disorders are still a lot less accepted as mental illnesses in today's current society, which I do say from personal experience as a Gen Z and as someone with generalized anxiety. I find that anxiety, depression, ADHD, they're all topics that, at least in my experiences with my friends and just with me, like people are much more open and willing to talk about. And I don't know, I think it's because there's less shame on it now. There's a lot more openness and people are more accepting of those struggles, but from what I see, people still feel so much shame around their eating disorders. And, well, society doesn't usually help because they tend to perpetuate eating disorders ideals or just deny it, mostly because of their own ignorance around eating disorders. We tend to be afraid of what we don't understand, which is obviously a part of it. Just because someone doesn't look like they have an eating disorder doesn't mean they don't, and dismissing it makes their lives harder. Now, I have seen more and more people starting to speak up about their eating disorders, like on Instagram and stuff, which is fantastic, but it's still not as widely spread as other mental health issues. And when people like Taylor Swift start to acknowledge their own personal experiences within their work, there seems to come with it a lot of backlash. Like when her anti-hero music video came out and it depicted a scene with the scale that read fat after she stood on it. A lot of people took that as being fatphobic, as it was said to represent being fat as bad. There was an article I read on it though that I think honestly depicted what happened quite well. The main backlash against Swift's new music video had nothing to do with its message. It doesn't matter that there's a clear self-awareness that her former mindset was harmful. Saying that fat is bad is problematic, regardless of framing and context. Why can't she just process her trauma and coddle the collective self-esteem of the entire internet at the same time? So, instead of being met with the support that is afforded to artists who've opened up about, say, anxiety or depression, Swift's expression of her struggles was viewed as tone deaf. She forgot to take a moment out of her candid and personal depiction of self-loathing to look into the camera and say you're beautiful. So Twitter immediately inferred disrespect. She spoke up about her mental illness, about how she was not okay. The masses didn't find it relatable or likable. She was not heard, supported, or validated. She was shamed, and when the scene was cut from her own creative work, she was silenced. Taylor Swift is rich and famous. She likely won't see whatever heinous, callous things are said about her. Very real pain. She probably won't. but other people did. People with eating disorders are used to remarks like this at this point. Swift may not have heard you when you demanded she make her healing process more palatable to you. But people who've been told their whole lives that girls with eating disorders stand in the way of body positivity and self-love, and that talking about their struggles will make them come across as shallow and selfish, heard you loud and clear. So survivors will stay quiet, the misconceptions will stay intact, and more people will get hurt because they're afraid to seek help. But that's a small price to pay for the comfort of people who need Taylor Swift to tell them they're pretty. Now, there's a lot in there, but the author touched on a couple key points. The masses were uncomfortable with the scene and decided that their discomfort and their so-called need for Swift to palette her art to fit them was more important than Swift's own story and what that might mean for others who will share her trauma. I don't have enough letter beads, that's the word, to make everything I need, so I'm changing certain beads to be other letters. So currently what I have for Speak Now is CPFAKHQW, which is not Speak Now, but we're going to change those letters into something more registerable. Anyways, what I was saying, and like, look, maybe there was a little fat phobia in it, definitely some internalized fear of being fat, which I think everyone, or at least most people, understood. So while maybe it did have the potential to do some harm, but by shutting the whole thing down, these people didn't even allow themselves to open up to other conversations that could stem from this, that could allow other sufferers to step forward and be heard rather than silenced, because their reality and their experiences are different from yours. I don't think our conversation should have been about whether or not Taylor Swift should have put the scene in the video and whether or not it was harmful, because the people who it would be potentially harmful to are the girls or the people who look up to Taylor Swift and who would potentially think that she meant she is fat and that is somehow a bad thing. Now, I know you might say that it was harmful to the community, but I don't think that's true. Did they get hurt by it? Yeah, sure, that's obvious, but she didn't call out that community at all. She didn't put them on a scale and call them out as fat. She put herself on the scale and showed her own internalized fears. If someone else, an artist, showed their own fear of being queer in a similar way, like a music video, not because they themselves are homophobic, but because they are afraid of those who are, and they are afraid of being hurt, you wouldn't expect the queer community to be offended by someone else's own internal struggles, mostly because it isn't about them. So why is this other community being offended by Swift being afraid of being perceived as fat? Because, well, she is afraid of being hurt. I hope that makes sense. I think it's important that it makes sense. Anyway, getting back to the point. It's sad that others had their opportunity for opening up about their similar struggles as Taylor Swift, but they were taken from them out of fear of being perceived as fatphobic, because, like Taylor Swift said,
there's always some standard of beauty that you're not meeting. It's all just fucking impossible.
The reality is that nothing is black and white, and people forget that both sides can have valid points. Both sides can be correct. For someone to win, not everyone has to lose. We are always quick to pick sides and forget that there's a middle. We forget that both sides can be true, or at least that the other side doesn't have to lose in order for you to win. I hope this discussion opened your eyes not only to the topics of eating disorder and allowing conversations about individuals and their struggles, but to the possibility of meaningful conversations without hostility, and the beauty of accepting others' opinions and expanding your own understanding of any situation, but specifically this situation. And maybe the next time you notice a difference in a celebrity, you take the time to remember your skewed view and the lens in which you are viewing a very real person, and decide that I don't need to say anything. They don't need me to say anything. And I don't need to be heard. I know, it's kind of heavy stuff, but I don't know, I just thought it was really important to talk about because A, that's kind of the whole point of this channel, and B, because, well, I want to. Anyways, I've got a few more bracelets to make, so I've already made one. Here's my red one. I will come back when I have finished those.
Hey, today I'm getting my nails done. I'm super excited. Let's go spend all my money because they're gonna charge me a fortune. Anyways, let's go. Oh my god. So that was kind of low-key stressful because trying to get nail artists to do like 10 different nails is a lot. I always decided, I was almost like, oh, do I even want to do that? But I'm kind of glad I did. They're really cool. They're the reason I didn't film any of the nail stuff or kind of anything, was because I was so stressed and like had to tell her which nail to do and like this one, and I don't know about you, but all my nail artists that aren't like small business, like one person kind of businesses, like all the ones near me are so judgmental, and they're like, not like, I don't know, they're not mean, but they're kind of like, really, like you want me to do that? And then I was like so stressful, and I'm just like, I just need to not be filming. So I did that little bit when I got my pedicure because I was so relaxed. Got the massage chair and the like scrub. It was just fantastic. I love pedicures. It was great. I did get my toes done, just like a really neutral color. For me, it's kind of representative of the Tortured Poets department, because I only have 10 fingers, so I figured if I do my toes kind of in like a neutral, I didn't want to do them necessarily white, even though that's technically kind of what it seems like the Tortured Poets department is, but I kind of went in a neutral, like, it's a very like neutral seeming kind of album. So that's what I kind of went with. But without any further ado, so this is officially the first hand. There you go. Oh my god, look at them. They're so cool. Don't forget to come back next week, maybe the week after, and watch my Eras Tour videos, because obviously I'm going to Melbourne. I'm going to be there. There'll be Melbourne videos and Eras Tour videos, so don't forget to come back and watch those. Mwah.